All right, this morning we got a late entry for the Weingartner Camshaft challenge. Stay with us and we're going to get into it. All right, so a guy called yesterday and he had emailed me, I don't know, Sunday or Monday, I can't remember, and he wanted a cam done for the challenge. And so we were trying to make sure that we could get it in and all that stuff. So this is Wednesday morning. It really needs to be there by Friday, I think, according to Eric, to get it in. So it's like 6 in the morning right now, and normally I go to the gym in the mornings and stuff. So I skipped my gym this morning so we can get this thing ground early and get it run through the cam doctor and packed and shipped today, because UPS usually comes around 12 to 1. So if we can get it out of here today, 2-day air, it'll be there Friday. But I did a small block yesterday, so we got to get this thing tore down and get everything set up for LS, and we'll go through some of that just for giggles, because people ask about it all the time, and I'll let you see some grinding. I ain't gonna give you no specs, but it's a little different, so it's gonna be one of those. I feel like it's gonna be an outlier, but it may do really good. If it does good, I got some speculations on where it's gonna do good, and we might talk about that in another video, because I'm gonna wait till all the slots are filled. That way, you know, we know can't any more entries be done, and then we'll talk more in depth about some things. So hang loose and let me get this tore down and everything cleaned up, and then I'll show you what we got to do to set up for another engine family on the grinder. All right, so I got the small block cam out. The first thing I'm gonna do is we're gonna take the tailstock off, because we got to move the tailstock. So we're gonna take the tailstock off, clean it up, you know, get all the trash out from under it, and then we'll oil up the table, and then we'll put the tailstock back on, and then we'll set our distance for the LS cam. I don't know if you can see, but in this track here, just the grindings get up under the tailstock, and then, you know, the coolant will get between the tailstock and the bed, and we do our best to keep it greased up, but it still gets up under there. So if you don't tend to it pretty regular, it'll make a mess out of the bed, and that's exactly what we don't want. Yeah, I used to not grease it, and another shop told me that they use grease on theirs. I used to just use a little bit of oil, but the grease definitely is better for sure. It looks a lot better every time I take it off than it ever did with oil. It just won't stay there. All right, clean our centers off. And then we'll take our core. And then while we're in there like that, what I'll do is we always want to check, especially once it's been off, I always check and make sure that the cam is square in the machine, because what will happen is sometimes you move stuff and the center won't be in line. So we just indicate the journals and make sure the cam is square, because we can move this tailstock in and out. Alright, so that's square now. And then we will pull our cam out, and then we got to put the driver on, if I can find it. Well, it's sitting over here still on the camshaft. All right, so you can see that. So the driver just pins to the cam just like the timing system does, and so we just put her on there and tighten her up. And like all my drivers, it's marked with the intake center line, so that way we know where we at, you know. And then we'll stick her in. And then I use extreme pressure lube. We use this on head bolts and rod bolts, and we use it on dead centers in the lathe and the grinder. Alright, so the next, let me see if you can see. Let me move you over here. Alright, so this is the follow wheel, which is in the way to change the index plate. So we had to move the follow wheel back out of the way a little bit. And right now we got a small block plate on. We got to go to we call it a universal plate. LS and anything else just got 45-degree bank angles. We call that a universal plate. So it's just index plate with 8 equally spaced holes, and that's a universal plate every 45 degrees. So put our gearbox in gear, and then we'll remove these masters. Come off of there. And then we will remove this index plate. And then we will install our LS plate. And all right, now what we got to do when we set up on a new job, the tables are rocking. It's following the master plate, so when it's engaged, it's doing that number right there. So kind of like rocker arm geometry, we want the table rock to be the center of the arc, to be basically at half lift. So what we do is, the way we do that is we've got the table's on a 15-degree angle, so we got a wedge that's 15 degrees, and I use a digital protractor. Hang loose, let me grab it. So we can take our protractor and just, set it on the machine on a area that's machined flat, zero it out, and then we can take, let's see, I'm gonna have to bring you back over here. So this is our setup wedge, and that makes the top of the table be flat, basically. It just takes up for the angle. I don't know if you can see that. Well, maybe I can do it. Maybe I can do it there. Let me see. Yeah. So what we do is we put the digital protractor on, and then we can just bring it down, and we can go to peak lift. We can just manually put it on peak lift. All right, so that's like 2.6. And that is 0. So we got to go that way like 1.2 degrees. So we basically want to be 1.2 degrees at peak lift and at the base circle. So the way we do that is we can just loosen this follow wheel, and then we can just let it come back till we get to that 1.2 or close. And it's not like, it ain't got to be absolute perfection. All right, so we at peak lift, and that's 1.4, and then we on the base circle, and that's 1.1. So 1.2 is the number that we need to be. All right, that's 1.15, and that's 1.3. Yeah, 1 point. So I'm gonna let that ride. I mean, we within 0.115 of a degree. What that does is, because you can get in trouble. I mean, you can't get in trouble, but what can happen is if this geometry is wrong, when the table sweeps, it can slightly it can slightly influence the center lines of the lobe. So if you've got the intake center line set at a whatever, you know, 110, if this sweep ain't right, it could come out, you know, a quarter, half a degree wrong. And so, and again, that's not a big deal in the grand scheme of things, but we just try to, you know, do the best job that we can do with the tools that we own. And so, let me set this intake center line. I can't tell you what it's going to be, but it's going to be what it's going to be. I can tell you that much. Right, so that's it. We'll move this back. All right, the next thing we want to do is just confirm before we start grinding that the cam don't have any run out. So it's got just a pinch that we're gonna have to work on. We got not quite 2 thousandths. So I gotta turn the air on. We're gonna get that 2 thousandths out of it, and then we're gonna get to grinding. Hopefully Andrew can zoom in on that when we edit it, or when he edits it. Lord knows I ain't doing no editing. Alright, so there's the low spot. There's the low spot. And that's left at less than half thousandths. Ta-da! Alright. Let's I'm gonna back you up just a little bit. And I'm gonna move my indicator. And I gotta get my center. I mean my steady rest. Oh, let's get our blueprint here. You can tell which one I've used the most. This is my LS one, and you can see what the rest of them look like. I need to make all new ones and laminate them. It'd make my life a little easier probably, but who needs easy, right? So first lobe on the camshaft on the LS is the intake. It is not that way on all camshafts. Small block Chevrolet, the third lobe is the first intake. It's just all depending on how the valves are laid out and all that kind of jazz. So we're gonna rough dress our stone here. Another thing we're gonna do before we get too far is we gotta figure our heel to toe dimension and come up with that so we'll know how tall the lobe needs to be to do the job. I forgot one thing. I was doing that regrind and I got the LSA split in the head. I gotta pull the head back to 0. All right, let's try that again. Get my splash guard. What I usually do is I'll go to the lobe cleans up or almost cleans up, because you know it don't matter what the heel to toe is supposed to be, the lobe's got to clean up. So if we end up being, you know, a little bit 10 or 15 thousandths small, it's not the end of the world, but you just can't be big. But the core is sized appropriately for the lobes, so it should all just work out. I mean, when it cleans up, we should be really close to the roughed in dimension, because I always rough it in to exactly the height of the journal, and I always take 10 more for a cleanup pass, and that puts us under the journal. So see, it ain't, you know, we ain't hard to take nothing off this thing. So so it ain't quite cleaned up, but it's almost cleaned up. So we'll see what that says. Well, matter of fact, let's just figure out what it's supposed to be, and then we'll figure it out from there. All right, so we need to completely finish at like 1 and 795. So we'll rough it in at like 1.805, give or take. All right, so the intakes is roughed in. We can pin the head over here so it don't move around, and then we just roll our desired lobe separation in. Confirm that. Alright, and then we'll move our follow wheel over to the exhaust lobe. And then that is 270 degrees for that exhaust lobe. And then the intake and exhaust lift is really close, so we'll just use the same heel to toe. Yep, so that heel to toe is good. All right, so I'm gonna knock these out, and then I'll bring you back when we're doing the finish pass. Alright, we on the finish pass on the exhaust. I went ahead, I done the first one and got the heel to toe set. So I'll do one or two here. Alright, we just finished the exhaust. So now we're gonna swap everything back over to the intakes, and then we'll run the intakes. So we swap our follow wheel back over to the intake lobe, then we'll bring our lobe separation back to 0. Alright, it's all done. We got to get it over in the cam doctor, confirm the specs, and then we'll get her boxed up. Alright, Andrew's got this thing in the cam doctor, so he's fixing to run it and make sure we did a good job. Look at that. That's money right there. 1 sub on the rockers, no advance. Yeah, we'll have to blur this out so you can't see the screen because it's top secret information. Oh yeah, that's what we want. Yeah, it's within half a degree of what we're shooting for.
What's this thing where it does the heading? Not that, is it?
Oh no, that's in the printer settings. You got to go to the printer settings, and then at the beginning it's got to be the and sign and F to add the file.
What do you want to call this?
Let's see. He only wants his first name said. Yeah, the guy that owns this cam, I don't know. He just wants his first name. He don't want people to know who he is, I guess. What was his first name? Can you confirm it? Just put on the file name. Let's see. Yep, that is correct.
To this one, I used to put the thing where you're saving it up here. It was in the way. I couldn't see. I can drag that one over here on this computer.
I don't understand.
When you save it in the window where it's asking you where to save it,
right?
That computer wouldn't let me drag it out of the way so I could see.
Oh yeah. Our this old let's see. This old junker right here, this is what I've been running the cam doctor on since I got it, and it's like a refurbished Windows 97. and it finally it can't keep up with the cam doctor as it's seeing the lobe data. It just can't process the data fast enough. So right now we stole Andrew's laptop and we're doing it on his little laptop, but we're gonna have to get a new computer just dedicated to the cam doctor. So we having all kind of, we had to set up all kind of junk and this and that and other things. So it was a bunch of drama.
What do you want up here?
You can put the core number, and they ain't none of the rest because LS don't have a gear. I think it's like a 315 703. 315 703. And that should be all on that. We need to add the website to the header in the software. I mean, you can do it there, but you need to put it in the software so it's in there all the time. And then you get it set up to engrave it, and then you can, yeah. Can't let them see the grind number. I mean, you'll just have to blur it out when you edit it. Yeah, it's HR. It's a hypertrolic roller. You just have to blur it out when you edit it. Yeah, it's HR. It's a hypertrolic roller. Yep. And frame it. Are we out of cam boxes? Oh.
There's one already over here. You don't.
That's for this cam?
You can use it.
Well, the camera took a dump again, so we didn't get none of the packing. But anyway, it's all packed up. That was like start to finish on a cam. So, you know, you just see what it takes to get one done, and, you know, from pulling the core off the shelf to packed up in the box, ready to go on out the door. So I think it's, what time is it? It's like 10:43. I had some other stuff in the middle, so that was probably took me 2.5 hours to do it, start to finish. And Alicia already had a label made for it and a box ready, so it's done, going out the door, and it'll be at Eric's Friday. So it should be in. I mean, this one should get in the challenge, but I think that's probably going to be it, because he said they wouldn't be like 2 more spots left. So anyway, hope you enjoyed that. Thanks so much. See you on the next one.